This is Coach's Corner with ECISD Athletic Coordinator Todd Vesley.
I'd like to take some time in this show and really celebrate some of the great accomplishments that you and your program have achieved during the course of this season.
The greatest accomplishment, I think, occurred, about 7 or 8 weeks ago when we were sitting with a record of 2-3, and Odessa High just beaten us. We had a long district group coming up. We had an open date after that game, and really our seniors, I think, are to be commended. Our coaches for providing good leadership for the team, and really we kind of got on a roll after that and won 6 straight, and that was something that I think would be a crowning achievement for us this season, and something that those guys can all be proud of.
That's pretty special when you can take those kind of hits and still manage to resurrect the season.
Well, it was, and I don't think you can do that. I don't think the head coach can do it. I think it's got to come from within, and our players were disappointed after Amarillo High beat us, and certainly were crushed when Odessa High beat us. And luckily we had an open date, and before we played Midland Lee, and I thought the Midland Lee game really got us jump-started after that, and beat a good football team, number one, and did it in convincing fashion and had our best offensive performance that particular game. And so that has to be something that these guys, even though they're disappointed they didn't beat Arlington Martin the other day, I think they've got to be proud of where they were and how far they came.
Coach, when it was 2-3 and you were looking down the barrel at what could be viewed as part of the roughest part of the schedule, 2 games with Midland, and it didn't look so great at times, did it?
No, it didn't. I mean, if you just look at the schedule, but I felt like that our players would respond because, the tradition, the hard work that they put into the preparation for the season, and, things fell in place. But, on the dark side of that was that, had we lost a game, we perhaps wouldn't have even made the playoffs. And so the prospect was pretty much a fact that we were going to have to win out, and fortunately we did.
And that what an achievement! What a great accomplishment for the team and the program to come from one end of the spectrum to the other, make the playoffs, get a playoff win, and an exciting time. When you look back at the season and you look back at when you started to gather your coaching staff, and you look at where your staff was when you first got them together to where you are now, talk to us a little bit about the changes that have taken place internally in the program.
I think anytime you hire a new head coach to begin with, and Coach Allman took 4 of the coaches with him, and we hired the 4 new coaches, and I think there's always a little bit of growth that has to take place because even though we made very few changes offensively or defensively, I think you have some personalities that players and coaches have to adjust to. I was proud of the way the players, their players are pretty resilient, and once you kind of gain their trust, they'll fall in line with you, and that's a two-way street. Players have got to trust coaches, and coaches have got to trust the players as well. So, I think that's just an inherent thing that occurs when you have a coaching change.
Now, when you look at the number of teams that were sitting at home when the playoffs started and the number of teams that didn't get a playoff win, there's some congratulations that need to be handed out, aren't there?
Well, there really are. We had, when you have an all-district ballot, you feel like you're proud of the guys that make the all-district team, but you're also sad that some did not. And when you have a 10-team district, I'm telling you, it's hard to get those things, get all your kids recognized. And of course, on the offensive side, we had Pipes made second team all-district, and Vasquez made second team all-district as a lineman. And we just had some really good players. The first team selection was Brennan Welch, and Brennan had just an outstanding season. I can see why everybody, voted him as a first team all-district player. Denzel made a second team selection at defensive end, and so we were proud of the guys. B. Anthony Fay was second team. Talon Smith was second team. so we had some recognition. You know, I thought we had more first-teamers than what everybody else thought, but that's what happens. You know, some years you do and some years you don't. And, you know, some of the biggest contributors to our team, honestly, were those guys that didn't get to play a whole lot, you know, and I think they go unrecognized many times because, you know, they're out there at practice every day and a lot of times mimicking what the opponent is doing that particular week, and I think they deserve a lot of credit too, and we're proud of all of them. You know, it takes a team to get anywhere, and I thought we really did have a good team.
Now talk about juggling lots of conflicting ideas and with the coaching staff and all of those young people and trying to get everybody going in the same direction as a team. The media and everybody likes to pick out somebody to, you know, tell a story about, or one particular player or how a quarterback played, but it's really about much more than just those individuals, isn't it?
It really is. You know, it's bigger than the individuals and it's bigger than the coaches, and you know, team means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but it's team, I mean, it takes everybody, you know, and including the school, all the auxiliary groups that support us so great through the course of the season, and our fans that have been loyal forever and ever. And so our players, I know, really appreciate those people. And the band, you know, a week ago when we got beat by Arlington Martin, they were just fantastic. They really were. And I just appreciate everything that they all do, and because they have a big hand into the success that we have and have for many, many years.
You know, we just talked about how important the team is. One of the things that kind of stuck out as the season went on was the improvement overall in all of the areas of the game, but there was one player that seemed to have a bigger impact the longer the season went, and that was Tommy Morris.
You know, we started utilizing him in that Wildcat formation, and you know, Tommy weighs 215 pounds. He got great hands, and you know, so we just decided to try to get the ball in his hands a few more times, and he was really an outstanding football player for us through the course of the season, and really got involved, you know, in the last, you know, 4 or 5 games when we started putting in the Wildcat with him, and because he can run inside and he can run outside, and obviously, you know, what he did as a receiver was pretty well understood at that particular point in time. But, you know, a big back, you know, and it was just, you know, it's some of the same plays that we ran with other backs. It's just a different person doing it, a little bit different running style, and a little bit bigger body, you know, and he can move a pile. And so it was fun to see Tommy, you know, display his talents this year.
The anchor of your defense was certainly in the middle. Your middle linebacker, Lambert, was.
Oh, Lambert Riley, he was, of course, a first-team selection, and he was really was the anchor. I think that's a good way to describe it. And I don't guess he's ever missed a practice. He worked out every day this summer, and it was just a real joy to be around. He doesn't say a whole lot, but he's always, you know, doesn't make many mental mistakes, and is a physical football player, and I hope he has a chance to go somewhere and play. I know he wants to, and we'll try to help these guys all we can by sending out video and to the colleges, and those that want to play, we're going to try to find a place for them to play.
Let's talk a little bit about the future as we look down the road. You know, we mentioned Tommy. There are quite a few returning players, people that saw lots of game time.
There really are, and you know, Bilbrey was our center, you know, for the bulk of the season, and he got hurt the other night, but he's going to be okay. DeAnthony Fay, you know, was a returning running back, and we had Tommy Morris, Talon Smith, you know, return as wide receivers. Defensively, we lost all of our secondary, and but we have a good deal of guys on the front four. You know, Haston Wood is going to be a good football player and played really well for a sophomore this year. But we have some good defensive linemen that, you know, Shaq is a good player for us. There's some others, I'm drawing a blank on them, but that's going to have to be the core right now as we begin off-season, is trying to develop a secondary where we lost all 4 of them and both of our inside linebackers. And so we'll have a fight to see, we'll have some battles, you know, to see who is going to win some of those battles in the spring and see who emerges, and somebody always does.
I'm just as excited as can be about the future of Permian football.
Well, I am too. Thank you, Tom.
Coach, you've done a great job, and congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And thanks for coming on the show.